Howdy ho! I used to call y'all galactic travelers. 2017. Oh, look, somebody, hey! That didn't take, thank you. I send out a notice. Holy crap. I tell you what, astrology and astronomy is not the same thing. You don't even chart it the same way. You don't even read it and track it the same way you do astrology. It that you got to start thinking about this chart as a governor. Y'all know what a governor is? Especially with moon right now going over Regulus, and I'm gonna do my best to maybe when a few more of y'all get over here, show you how this thing has unfolded in the past 24 hours, because typically you don't have this many angle changes. We skirting along for like 3 weeks on more, even longer than that, on two kites. Remember, one that was heading to Pluto, one that was heading to Uranus, and we're on January 6th today. Thank you. We're on January 6th, and let me tell y'all, I've been screaming this. The most frustrating thing about this journey with me is that when you have all the answers, but nobody wants to hear you. And that's this is the entire collective, because what people don't realize is that your politics and even the stories that are streaming to you on your television, do you really think that all those people can come up with those many creative new ideas all at once on all these streaming channels? Do you really, really think that? Or do you think that it's on some type of record and it's playing? Look around at the people, and then look around at everyone that got vaccinated, and tell me, is it possible for them to be more creative and put more content out with less brains? Or is it just that all of it went on a processing ribbon and now it was running through a projector? And the ones of us that were used to do all of the alchemy for politics, because it's what it is. And if you're not from the South, then you're not aware, but you're about to find out. Because Earth became the South. If you're not used to dealing with the density of Australia, if you're not used to being and I'm not even the Southern Hemisphere, I'm talking about the Equator South. I'm talking about Memphis, Florida. I'm talking about the original ones of us that don't have shit. We don't have shit. We're missing teeth. We're missing our children. And I'm not talking about from Tartarian freaking 1800. I'm talking about 2020 fucking 4. There's a show. I'm over here at this Airbnb, y'all. And so a bunch of people come here, so they sign in all their streaming channels, So I didn't turn on the TV for didn't even turn on the air conditioner for the first week. Let's talk about that. I didn't even turn on the air conditioner from the first week that I was here. Now, do you know that in the cookhouses, and when I say cookhouses, I'm talking about spirit cookhouses. I'm talking about the houses that all of us in the collective, all of for especially 2021, 2022, we were being led to all these places in the United States by these beings that were saying that they were going to help us because they knew that we were here to save everybody. Okay, well, the whole time, do you know Trump was looking for me to get my California address to send me a card? Did you know that the spiritual collective was getting thrown back and forth between Biden and Trump? Did you know in Anaheim, we were stopping them from bringing Castro and Escobar back? Did you know that that's how they were using us? Did you know that they basically perfected necromancy through our DNA? Did you know that they's making immortals? But a whole bloodline. Did you know that those are the ones that are hidden, that are connected to the Tartarian infrastructures that everyone's screaming about and wondering where the children were? Did you know that those children are even the Generation Xers, and somehow, in a weird, fucked up way, the Hawaiian kids that just went missing from the stream that came in? Do you know why? Because they stopped us from going to Hawaii. If we would have gone to Hawaii in March of 2020, instead of shutting down all of the airports, then Hawaii would have maintained. Hawaii wouldn't have got stung, which means they wouldn't have got blasted, but that is what the fuck they were trying to do. You're dealing with space-time. You want to know where all the children are? They're right in front of your face. They could be right in front of your face in how they had this whole thing set up, and you never would have seen them. The world's talking about the Idaho murders and all this mess. Well, they had days to do that. Y'all don't understand how they do it. And you won't listen to us as we're trying to explain it to you. And we're not trying to solve the murders from then. No, we're trying to make sure that you're protected now, because that Idaho went in the program. Which means what? It's set on repeat. Once it's done once, and once it's set up once, what happens? It goes on the record. But sure, we don't know anything. Don't listen to us. That's fine. We don't give a shit anymore. January 6, 2019 was not about the White House. Had fucking nothing to do with the White House. January 6th is in 2019, not the year that it happened. The year that it happened at the White House was the effect of what came in January 6, 2019. And what came in is the Big Bang codes, because they had blown everything up. What came in was the Tesla math to show me how all the planets and everything were set in the simulation, which is what coCHEE 32 is, and it's what House of coCHEE is. And literally, we channeled our way out of this, literally. Created the brand, used the brand, still doing it, still doing it. It's like I use it and then I keep going as I'm building the book and everything. Like the ancestors gave us the infrastructure January 6, 2019 of how everything was supposed to be connected into the cosmos and all the star seeds. Why? Because I was supposed to be president. I was supposed to be president. Now, I'm not talking about Christy Genzel. I'm not talking about the little girl that was adopted and put under some bullshit name and then given to some people that don't know nothing about nothing. And so that the little girl, her whole life, didn't realize that she was manifesting all their crazy timelines. But hello, that's what every single ritual in the world was building. One's just like me. And then being sold. You weren't buying a child. You was buying a planet. And that's how they selling them. Here, come get Jupiter. This is what this is going to do for you. Here, come get Neptune. This is what this is going to do to you. This is why so many celebrities have so many people in wheelchairs and MS. And, well, they don't as much right this very second because they cheated the system for a minute. But if you remember back before 2020, and even Ashton Kutcher, they've all got these hidden little family members that aren't all right. Well, that's why. They bound themselves to them, put them in a wheelchair, drove them around like a golden Oscar statue in their own little EMF tower. Same thing with children. Our men didn't want our children. Our men didn't want to raise our children. They just wanted the money that our children bought. Whoever had the kid got the money. Why? Because the child brings in the higher timeline. Had nothing to do with the care of the child. Nothing. Interesting. I wasn't planning for all this to come up. I want to read y'all. So right now, I mean, this is what I mean. Look at this. Well, that's from yesterday. First of all, the moon's over here in Regulus. See all these angles? When you get over in Regulus, what stars move, and every star has moves different. You know what's really good to go check out for this is if you can find any decent information left on the internet. With the Sirius star codes, Sirius, and the Sirius runes for the star codes, because it'll really give you an idea of how the star moves. Now, astronomy is used in every single sigil. When you're looking at a sigil, or you draw a sigil, the sigil is based on this wheel. Did you know that? You really, this is basically would have been called the perfect circle. And it really is a circle. It's a 0. And everyone's calling this year 111. You're wrong. You're wrong. You left out the zeros. It actually keeps breaking down like 0101 2026. Everyone was saying was 111. No, motherfuckers. What are you doing? You're leaving out the zeros. This is why we got a bit currency problem. You got to add the zeros because the zeros create space. If you don't, how are you going to get to 1 million without zeros? You're going to have to get all ones, but then all the ones are just going to add up. You see what I'm saying? If you had 1,111,101.11, and you were going to use that on numerology, you'd add it up and it'd be what, 9? You just lost your zeros. If you're a mega starseed, you know what you have in your system? Zeros. You know what they're after? Your zeros. You know why they're tracking the credit card and the IAD numbers? Your zeros. They want to see how much space you can hold. And it's even available on your credit card processing at some of your retailers. It's called an IAD number. And it's either really, really long or it's really short. And it's about your frequency. And it matches you. Look at every single one. They're tracking your zeros. They're tracking your space. How much space is your energy field holding in the financial system? Because every bond number, every social security number, even your fucking license plate, and every digit that you have on your chart to 14 decimals in the back end of this API is tracking your financial holdings, especially in the United States. It's all they care about. You think if you're sitting at home, you're not making any money? Bullshit. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. The whole thing was rigged. We had to get ourselves out of it. Try being the ones who make everyone else's energy and heal everybody, and no one wants to listen to and won't give you anything. But that's what happens whenever you run a star program in a planetary system. If you're a star and then you go inside a planet, where's your world? Planets are used to looking around and seeing the stars. Planet work together in a system without the stars. Stars work together, but if you're a planet and if you're a star and you go inside a planet, then you become lost. Well, I'm sorry, we had one of those. It's called Electra. But I'm sorry, Electra was gridded down in a town in Texas by Bushman where they were doing a bunch of sinister shit to some cows. And every single time I drive through California from fixing this motherfucker for months at a time, I'd come through Bushman and I'd start a fucking tornado. And I'm not even kidding. Just passing through. I drove 80 miles an hour through that town one time because the freaking severe thunderstorm things were clashing everywhere. Radio was going nuts. I mean, it's crazy. I was pedal to the metal because I was looking behind me going, what the hell? It looked like the world was ending. But all that was happening was a new sequence that was running through Vega. All of these planets up here, Venus, the Sun, and Mars, just left Vega. They just left Vega. Vega is 20. Let me read y'all something. Now, this is stuff I'm putting together for the book. I've got so much written up on all this stuff. So now it's to the point where I'm going through all these things that I've written for 8 years. And every year I was writing it with more and more specific consciousness, because for me it was like all of the information came out at once. Like I said, I got the January 6, 2019 download. But then everybody was trying to they were trying to take that energy and put it into Democrat and Republican. They were running, it's Mason 33. This is how they do it. Masons can't control any energy if they can't control the energy bubble, if they can't control the people. The whole world been controlled by Masonry this whole damn time. Now your energetics is activating in you, so you're seeing different perspectives because the energy is getting higher, and their stuff is no longer working because there's new timelines that are written. And in a lot of ways, we just basically kind of MK Ultra'd ourselves. And they're freaking out. Now let me explain to you what that means. How did we just kind of MK Ultra ourselves? Well, first of all, MK, K is Y2K, and we basically changed that to Y2C to get that back the way it should be. And C is your body codes, and all tech is built in C programming. So basically, C is your body. But this is why Trump was handing out French fries at McDonald's, and this is why McDonald's was coming up in all that freaking bullshit with Harris and all that, because they had to put the mech in there because they's using the MC. I'm trying to explain how they do it. Y'all think I'm full of shit, but I'm not. It really is how they do it. They just have to get a bunch of people to agree. First of all, I went back and looked. How I know that this is a dead zone is because there's 1900 counts and there's 2000 counts for the stars, because they've been programming everything to them. So the stars and what they were programmed to in the simulation are different in the 1900s from where they were in the 2000s. And we're only 26 years in, or 25 years in. Okay? So when you go to Constellation of Words, which you can go look this up right now, and we're pulling a lot of the history and data and putting it into the book, and this is basically how I started and then how the book ended after I wrote all the programs the way I was seeing it happen and flowed it through the system. So what you're getting is the program of the energy, how it's affecting you and how it's affecting everyone else, and what that energy is bringing to the collective. And then you're going back and looking at how did that end up happening like that? Because space is your body. The AU is the gold, but the AU is you. And what was Anunnaki always doing? Turning us into gold. And they were making Stepford wives. Alex Earl is one of them. I'm glad she's trapped over there. I'm glad all of them are. If you knew how they were made, you'd be happy too. And you'd also give us some props for not taking them all out. But we're wise and we've learned our lesson. 1,000,000 years ago, we did take them all out. That's what gave them the excuse to come treat us like this for this long. We ain't gonna dabble in that little pot. We'll let them take themselves out now for thinking that they can just be that, like we were. You don't get away with shit down here. Free will is a test until you master. Free will is a test until you master. I'm going to say it again. Free will is a test until you master. You think it's free will. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. But if you thinking you have free will is what's keeping you in a program, so that moon going over Regulus really is stretching everything out, because Regulus is massive. Regulus is like a bowling, because remember, this isn't flat, it's a ball. This is a ball. It's a ball. Not a ballroom. It's a ball. It's an apis. It's an APIS. What's an apis? That big red ball that's on top of whose head? One of the Egyptian goddesses. One of the shadow goddesses. It's Apis. She walks around with that big red blood cell on her head. What's this in one dimension? A clean blood cell. What happens when you master Vega? You have a self-regenerating body. Let me say it again. What happens whenever you master Vega? You have a cell regeneration system turned on in your body. Let me say it again. When you master Cancer and Capricorn, this is your mind. Your mind is not your brain. Your mind and your brain are two different things. This is the densest part of you and the densest fluids, which is what? Your heart muscle, your brain processor, those going together and creating what you'd call your soul. But really, it goes heart, soul, mind. It goes A, C, B. It doesn't go A, B, C like a choo-choo train. Your track goes off the thing, loops around to C, because A is mirroring C. So you're seeing the soul of it by seeing what's breaking everyone's heart. Then you make up your mind. Then that B charge goes all the way over here to Vega. And this is the most ancient in the wheel. Your most ancient star seeds are not Pleiadian. Your most ancient star seeds are from Vega and Sirius. Why? Because we made the first human design from a vegan aquatic ape. We did it from way the fuck over here. We never met them. They never met us. They'd say they created us. We'd say we created them. Does it even fucking matter? All I know is that whenever you turn this on in the human race, which we've done now because we completed the genome, we were the original ones that built this body to live in after death. And now, in the past 8 years, we just reprocessed the body to live in life. I know that it blows people's minds. It blows ours too. We don't even want to talk about it. We don't even want to talk about it. We don't want you, you know, it ain't about who we are. But it blows our mind. There's a whole bunch of us. This is the ancient consciousness. When you embody ancient consciousness, do you know what you become? A fucking ancient being. "2020, when all this happened, you know, it's in, and even 2017 when we activated, I could have called myself Lady Gaga, and I could have come in, I could have called myself Taylor Swift. If my only mission was to get down here on Earth and be Elon Musk, I could have done that. You'd already know who I was. You would have known me before 2012, 2013. I would have already been famous. I chose to be Kristen, Christ in Ginzel. I was the Christ in Azazel. You aren't going to get any extreme light and dark than me ever down here. Two, it's molecular. Past light and dark, past being able to see light and dark, we're talking about X-ray vision. Which is it's all here already. We don't need an X-ray machine. My team has X-ray vision. We don't need to hook you up to a machine and thrust energy through your veins. We don't need to hook you up to a machine and take all your blood out with a machine and put someone else. We can do it right there in front of you in your body. It only takes 5 fucking minutes. And we don't even have to be in front of you. Do you know what keeps it going backwards? The healing only takes 5 minutes, and the person doesn't believe it, and then they go back and manifest it again, and then they keep coming back. The human body is no longer set to suck after death. The human body is no longer programmed to suck the death. Understand that your human bones are living on decay. A self-regenerating process that your bones and your ancestors always had, that was taken away from you and put into machinery, which is why you only live 70 or 80 years instead of 900. How the hell are we supposed to change the world if we can't even get past 50? You can't even be on this planet. The first 50 years you're on this planet, you're changing everything. You don't even start mirroring your self-reflection down until 50. How the hell are you supposed to do everything you're supposed to do when you get to this planet and you only have, 50 years, because your body starts breaking down? Then by the time you're 65, you're considered elderly, but you have no wisdom and you have no control? I mean, the whole system is nuts. But the whole world forgot that using after death timelines. And the whole world forgot that BC went backwards. And if you go look at BC timelines 3456, that looks like AD to you, does it not? Well, you're correct. That's why they borrowed from the futures. There is no 3450 AD. There isn't. They already took it. We're already here. You're not in the future building your life anymore. You got shot down here. You've been building your future in the wrong area. Okay, well, you know how you get your future back? You got to tune your body to your future charge and bring it in here. It's yours. It's not theirs. You just have to be in the right frequency. And it all comes back to you. It's not as quick as we want it, but it's probably as slow as we need it to be able to handle what's all coming back in. Let me read y'all what I wrote about Vega. Now I wanted to do this last night, but I really think I had to wait for because the sun literally has Venus and Mars in a star void. There's no stars at 16 degrees. It's a cazimi, which means that the sun is in a line with Venus and Mars, and it's like Source is like, y'all are getting in a fucking room and you're gonna sit here unless I have to, and I might even just zap the fucking shit out of you two alphas so that y'all can get it together and work together. The sun literally has pulled Venus and Mars aside. The moon was holding it up by quincunxes last night. The moon didn't have a connection at all. It's holding it up by quincunxes. That means the moon was programmed a whole fucking long time ago at its core to hold those motherfuckers up at the same time in a void in order to fix it. 1555 is where Vega ends. Now, first of all, Vega used to be called Wega, W-E-G-A, and it was the pole star 12,000 to 14,000 BC. The last time that we saw and believe it to be and have documentation was 7,000 BC. Excuse me. Ah, woo! Exactly. So that means that your cardinal positions, now this is all Vatican, Roman, everything. All your cardinal positions were set up in the wheel. So cardinal is Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn. Your cardinal wheel was set up 12 to 14,000 BC. Today is the first day that as a collective we're creating in that energy. There wasn't any energy that was being, or anything that was being created over the barrier of 12 to 14,000 BC. It became a ceiling. It became the outside of this bubble. Remember, this is a bubble. This is a ball. It's not flat. So 12 to 14,000 BC, it was what was holding the plasma barrier to this reality in 5 spheres. 5. Why? How many times have we been separated, and how many times have we parted the Red Sea since 12 to 14,000 BC? How many boats have you got on and never saw your family again since 12 to 14,000 BC? If you're in our collective, you have somewhat of an answer. You at least know the important ones, because when you come through ascension, you will get back on a boat. I mean, I had to get on a boat to get over here. The cosmos works out in your life. Now now I'm going to say it again. The cosmos plays out in your life. These stories and these stories of the constellations have been playing out in your life. It created a program. Now we call them programs, because why? Because everybody was trying to program the human body, because it was a system. So that's what we call it. But in nature, we don't have those words. In science, you call it coagulation, and you call it nuclei, and osmosis, and boha. In nature, we don't have those words. Vega 1355 degrees dead on. And so this is what I wrote in 2018 about Vega. Now, I just read this last night, and I was kind of surprised, because I write differently about it now, but this was when it first came out. Let me find where I'm at. Vega was, and in some ways still is to this date, June 18th, 2021, until more understand, a multi-dimensional time lord system for earth beings. Now this is Vega. This is 13.55 dead on Capricorn. The orb is 1155 to 1555, and at 1555 it connects with the 555 Egyptian chamber, king and queen's chamber lineups from Rigel and the Vine in the lower houses. I'm explaining to y'all how the deities do it. Like, even if you're a deity, you got to come back into this realm. You have to activate, connect with the human race in order to get your powers back. You don't just activate and sit in your room and have abilities. You have to integrate and work with the people, because your power is the people. And if you don't work with the people, then you ain't getting your power. But it's an alchemical process of connecting and becoming the earth again. And I went through it. This is why you have the processing of Venezuela and what they process. They're using ancient ormus. And ormus was created and compounded to activate Egyptian deities. But they're using the same processing to make something different. But without that processing, they wouldn't have been able to make the compound. The compound and the knowledge of how to compound came and was taught to the people because they had to activate their deities. So what I'm telling you is they're using the same process to activate a deity and to connect the deity into the realm to have power, but they just reversed it to take the power and to hook up the people to a compounded agent that was tuned to do the opposite. It was tuned to do the opposite. Same processing, different intention. How many more people are making their compound versus making our Ormus now? There's where there's the problem. So now the power is going to come out of the compound because you don't get no cocoa leaf. If there's no deadening agent in our body, then and if there's nothing holding our energy down to produce poisonous gas, then guess what? We no longer produce poisonous gas. Whenever we go up higher, there won't be any snakes, then there won't be any spiders. Literally, the insect community as you know it is going to change. There's going to be different ones, there's going to be bigger ones, there's going to be ones flying around, there's going to be new insects and new, because the reptile DNA is gone. We blew the genome. Now realize what I'm telling you on that is like the lobsters, the crustaceans, all these things that have all these hard shells because they've been living at the bottom of the ocean and they's protected and their physics changed way before yours does. You just haven't seen it down there yet. In fact, some people have and they're like, what the fuck? It's like an alien invasion down there and they're all really big and what the hell? Exactly. Y'all just threw and dumped all your trash DNA in the ocean. It's what you always did. That's why we're the mermaids from Mu. That's why this is an evol count. And guess what? The whole ocean is involved in your clearing. Because from one perception, this is one big blood cell. Now, your one big blood cell was caught in a Time Lord system. This is also the thing about dying and going towards the light. Don't do it. I bet there's a pole there. This is why they got girls on poles. This is why they got pole dancers. Believe it or not, it has nothing to do with eroticism. It all started because there really is a pole right there. There really is. And if you have 12,000 to 14,000 BC and you can hit that pole, whenever you died in this, and it feels like you, that when in this last 8 years, whenever something happened and you knew that you died, well, you really just went and swung around that pole and then came and literally swung around and came back and jumped on yourself. If you had activated past 12 to 14,000 BC, because there ain't nothing up there. And you really can't die when you get up there because it's basically immortal. So if you're in that frequency, you don't die. But you did. You went through a processing and you changed. You came back in something different. It's because it was a Time Lord machine. Originally developed by the what they would call down here incorrectly, I might add, Anunnaki, the tree of life, root of connection into the original aquatic ape of the original human prototype. The DNA of an original aquatic ape is connected to all origins of the basis of water on this realm, including what you would call the entities that can pass through dimensional gates and take new forms as well. Depending on the dimension you meet them, depends on the form. Down here, those could have much darker forms from our perception. Even underwater monsters, evil mermaids, galactic pirates, ancient witch spells of transmutation through ancient rituals to bring spirits in, which is what hashtag got everyone in their hashtag witcher trouble down here in this realm. Ancient Vegans have knowledge of the Syrian Toltec matrix and tone patterns connected to Sirius B, which is where the full moon just was. The universal mind of the realm of consciousness. We are linked to one being from origin. This origin was connected to the aquatic ape and gave them keys to portals. This is also considered druid lines, since in its replication and polarity of the same offerings from the other families producing earth with their sacrifices. So realize this is like, you know, if they wouldn't have been doing some of this stuff, and this is pagan stuff, and then we get down to the spring rites and oh Lord, I can't even remember all of the rituals that were done in the woods over long periods of time to Juno, to what is it? Not Aphaeus. Lord, I can't think of it now. The women that were sacrificed to the earth to be the earth. And that stuff's still going on all over the world. Well, that's what created my family line. And all the family lines that were trapped in the Mormon system, which was every family line at the end of days. However, vegans, which looks like vegans, by the way, vegans also understand to some level the power they were controlling down here, wielding Sagittarius and Scorpion energy for the collective and realm. These motherfuckers aren't stupid. They're brilliant at stupid shit, per my perception, because they're brilliant at manipulation. They're highly creative at manipulation. As long as they have something to look at and copy, they can re-engineer it. They are brilliant at this stuff. Oh, God. See, I'm restricted again. Whatever. All right. So vegans understand to some level the power they were controlling, which after it passes the pupil of Vega and works its way through the fish, whoever was governing the fish in the end would win due to gridlock. Now, let me repeat that. Energy for the collective and realm. So what I just said is that the Sagittarius, they're really good at managing Sagittarius and Scorpion energy, because these would be the warlocks. The warlocks know how to weave and do things in the high houses that the humans weren't taught. But what are the warlocks using? Human energy. The pupil of Vega. So we just passed the pupil of Vega. Sun, Mars, and Venus. Now we're working our way through the fish right this very second. Everything's aligned. 16 degrees. Whoever was governing the fish in the end would win due to the gridlock. This is where a bunch. I mean, if you're an ancient being, then your twin is vegan. If you're an original Castor Pollux, blah 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 twin set, and the original twin sets, then Sirius and Vega are where this all started. All of our twins would say that we backdoored them and screwed them over. All of them. You know why? We wouldn't do exactly what they wanted us to do. You know why? Because of what I just read. We knew that that whoever was controlling them would end up in control. Not them. So whoever is controlling them would end up in control of them, which if we would have done what they wanted us to would meant that they would have had control of us. Why? They had them doing the bad stuff. They didn't have any karma. They had our twins doing all the bad stuff. They would have gotten the karma. So whoever's governing the program and playing, and who's running the program, not who's in the program, who's running the program. Whoever's running the program is going to win coming out of Vega. That's why we had to take over the whole damn thing. And we did. We broke the wheel. However, for the first time, we have a new energy of Vega connected back to the true origins of how humans are manifest and made down here on Earth. Patterns are developed, and new patterns in you were just linked into this realm, into the entire collective through the AB negative blood and AB positive blood, and now the entire collective is for once not governed by 7, but by 30 million ascended like me. Now, this was written in 2021. We were and always were connected, and not by very far away over the last 300 years, either direction from future or past, due to this 5% variation that was set up controlling time through Tesla systems not meant for this use. So there ain't no problem with Tesla math, but the human body and the entire human race shouldn't have been put in a Tesla pattern. How did the human design end up in a Tesla pattern? I have an answer. Wheezing after death timelines. I walked through this 5% and lived it in a physical way, being sawed in half and turned on backwards at my L4, L5 to create it, I believe honestly, which is why I ended up finding out about it first. But by then, it was a secret nobody wanted to tell because they were using our collective Syrian energy to assist them in manifesting mass consciousness disruption without our knowledge. I have charted this 0.5 variance throughout the shift, which led Bill Gates to my hot tub in Tucson, Arizona. Oracle is based on Mayan astrology. Have you looked lately? Gate, that was hijacked by Bill who? This goes to anything Bill, then William, then Illuminati, which leads you to Nazis and Russians, and then to a cartel of Columbia and United Nations and all religions in some way or some form since inception, depending on how you want to cut it. You see, when you get to this degree of 13.55 Capricorn, you're dealing with mass consciousness of collective governance, no matter what type of being you are. Water is the anomaly of Earth, and what makes Earth the seed vault of all existence. There are many on Earth that know what I tell you. It was the rest of us that were being kept from the truth. But Al Capone knew. Stopped just above these notes, it is where my life seemed to sink into the story of galactic systems to the minute, including the characters around me. For what stopped me was the definition of the Mu character from a master Vegan, which I, at this current time, perceive in a version of my true twin. So, that's a little... Now that was written 2021 as we were coming through Vega, okay? And so I'm describing it in 2021, and I had to stop writing about it because I literally had 2 people show up in like a time riff. They saw the book, called it the Bible, like it was this whole trip out. I had to stop writing. I was in the high desert writing it. I had to stop because it was showing up in my world, which is why also it's taken me so long to write this book. However, Scientology, Robert Hubbard, all those energies and beings have the power I have. Whenever we write stuff, it comes true. So do you. You get enough people writing the same story, it don't matter if it's published or not. You follow? So in the program of coCHEE 32, let me tell you, so again, this is Vega, and it's 13 Well, I don't know what I've got anyway. Vega is the vein blood original root of the human DNA. Vegans are more ancient in a timeline perspective than Lyra and are more equal to Sirius beings in regards to the ancient timelines. Aquatic apes from Vega were the first bodies used to start creating humans. The degrees before Vega and on Vega would be considered before human to Polis, or the first civilization in this realm. Vega is the connection with Mars and enters into life blood, but still in aquatic, animalistic, instinctual form. Then more feline in form, leading into mammals and humans. Okay? So what I just gave you was an evolution. So it started out into the aquatic, then it went more feline, then it went more dog. Okay? But government making dog man. And I can't even tell you how many men were around me stealing my energy because they were trying to get some Colombian woman over here that looked like a cat. And Melania looks like a cat. They got these weird faces. But they were trying to turn the system on to make us redo it all. Because we had completed it. So we had already put all the parts back together and made us superhuman. Us superhumans came in 1972. We came in the middle of them trying to take it backwards. This is why Gen X is from the future. Now here's the lesson. Now everybody listen, because now we just stepped out of this energy. Okay, we're like teetering on it. We got all the planets teetering on it. Here's the lesson. When you're bringing in Vega energy, you're very connected to the life blood of everything. At times, this brings about a drive to react off primal instinct. Okay? Because this is where the primal is. This is where the primordial is. Now, primordial is a connection that's inside you to an energy on the outside of you. And what did we just blow? A ceiling from 12 to 14,000 BC that was set up. So your body moving into a primordial energy field is going to trigger a primordial response. Remember that you are connected to all life forms and therefore very influential. So I don't care if you think you're a big deal or not. If you've been on a journey and you've been following us, right now what the planets are setting you up is for power. Now what that means is that you're the stopgap. That means that whatever you do, others can do. So don't do anything bad to nobody. And if you sit home and you don't go out, well then the rest of the world will sit home. Maybe we should sit home a little bit more. You see what I'm saying? They're gonna follow. You're a lead blood clot. Whenever you alchemize through a negative situation, you're clearing it back to the ancient bloodlines. So the stuff that comes up, realize that it was a stopgap 12 to 14,000 BC. Is it still a problem? If it is, we definitely need a fucking solution. Or is it just a repeat of some weird stuff that now you're back in that energy and you have to show that you're smarter than 12 to 14,000 BC? This is why I say, nobody's trying to, and nothing, and when you get to this level, it's not a test. Don't consider it a test. You just have to connect it. This part goes with this part. This is a star, and it's supposed to go in the square hole. Okay, first of all, how the hell did that square get whole? I mean, yeah, exactly. How'd that hole get square? because it used to be a star. I know it definitely goes there. So how are we going to, what needs to be done? Does it need to be a square right now? Does it need to go square, square? Or does it need to go star? And it's just these little bitty things that you feel like are blocking your path from whatever it is. But you have to walk through it only because it was some ancient like it's never been done before. It's the first time that you're putting these two together. Who knew that jalapeno and dark chocolate were good? It's the first time that you put them together. Whenever you make the decision to forgive and let go, you're retraining your ancient primordial instinct. Because your primordial instinct is going to be attack and kill. I can tell you that. Your primordial instinct is going to be like, they should have known better. You're not going to be coming from compassion. You're going to be coming from been underneath a rock for 12 to 14 million years. And you just got out. Or a genie that just came out of a bottle. For a minute, that primordial energy is going to, and this is where I screwed up. I would have been 3 years ahead. Now, I didn't screw up because it needed to be processed, right? But if I had to do it all over again, and if I was going to get through it and tell people how to get through it the quickest, knowing what's all done now, because there were reasons that we did the things that we did, and there's reasons it took as long as it did. But I'm here to teach you. So the fastest way through this is to intuit on a primordial level, react on a higher cognitive level. And realize that if you're feeling it, that's how long it's been going on. And I know the Hatfields hate the McCoys, but they really need to get over it at this point because it built Iran and Iraq. All because these two Texas families didn't like each other. Iran and Iraq moved in. Literally. Literally. The old program is running off the trumped trauma of past events. Okay. Now that's Vega. That's where everything just came through. Okay. Now Venus, Mars, and the Sun are in Lyra 2 post Vega. And Mercury is moving into Lyra 2 pre Vega. So we had a huge Vega party, and where everyone's hungover from the Vega party, and now the parents came home, and the brother and the sister have been put in timeout because they threw a party. And Source is dealing with Venus and Mars right now, and because we just had this new party on every realm of existence, and Lyra 2 energy is what we're in right now. So here is the data. This is the coCHEE 32 of it. Lyra 2, which is the true Lyra position in the constellations. So number 1, Lyra 2 is actually the true Lyra positions. Not Lyra 1, not Vega, okay? And if you look at how Capricorn's set up, Lyra 2 would basically be like the collider dimensions. You know how everything's like the circle and like beaming through a projector, or a projector moving. You know, you've got that light that's coming through that one circle. Well, Lyra 2 is the circle. Vega's a circle within a circle. And it's next to the body of Hercules. So this is where Hercules comes in. So this is why Lyra has so many mixes of races, and Lyra is the third root race of humans. Lyra star-seeded all over the place. Lyra energy mixed with everything. Now, do you think it was a conscious group that said, we're going to go take over everything? Or do you think it was just some type of amoeba skin mutation, or something that grew on something else and was all connected to the same source? It's the latter. It's not like you have some big Lyran, take me to your leader type shit. Nobody even knows who's running Earth, if that makes you feel any better. How the hell do you think anybody knows who's running Lyra and Andromeda and all this? I mean, it's all done in a consciousness, and it's all done in etheric bodies. It's not done in a room. Lyra 2 is the core of the human genome, which we are recoding to the original monad now. You were doing this by clearing through experiences within the Lyran body. Whenever something of ill intent comes at you, you clear it not only for yourself, but also erase it from the overall human consciousness. People that are born under Lyra 2 energy, you've got Lyra 2 energy, you've probably had a lot of illnesses and diseases in your life. Why? Because you have to remember you can heal yourself. As soon as you remember you heal yourself, you start healing and changing pharma and medical. The entire industry. Your little whatever you think you are, your little bitty self in your house, healing yourself from cancer, regrowing your teeth. All of us trying to regrow our teeth created what? China and Japan can regrow teeth. I'm sorry, China and Japan aren't the ones who lost teeth. All of us down here in America in the red root race are the ones who lost teeth because you've been mangling our timelines. So then why is it that y'all get to make all the money from us figuring out how to regrow teeth? Because we're actually in the United States and across the world in the Native American communities making a frequency to regrow teeth. So how is it that Japan and China can capture that and then say it's theirs? You follow what I'm saying? And the only thing that's going to stop that from happening is more etheric bodies being embodied. More of us embodying the etheric body, because then China and Japan won't get the information first. Right now, the way the whole multidimensional thing's set up on their tech charge, it's certain countries are getting all of everyone's creative ideas before the other. In the United States, California was it. It's not anymore. It's starting to fall and balance out. But shit, I'd create something in Texas, drive 24 hours to catch it. And I'm not kidding. California was setting up and stealing the creative energy of, and they had it built up on 6 dimensions. But Gavin Newsom was the one that was in charge of the Nigeria whole thing with the starseeds. Newsom's the main fucking one. We ain't at the end of the story yet. We're still walking it. Lyrans incarnate to this plane knowing that the rules here were made to be broken. Now here's the other thing with Lyra. And this is when we talk about perception shifts as you come out of this is one that you got to get over. But you live coming out of the matrix, getting into your divine, more of your royal codes, doing this. But then once you get in your royal codes, you got to play nicer. You can't just do everything opposite. Now you're in your royal codes. But in your collective, you're in a stronger collective, and now you've kind of you don't want to make a ripple because now you're not creating break the law. You're like, why is this law here? But whenever you're tied in and you're unwinding yourself from this, which is what you've got to do, okay, then the Lyra energies, man, everything's opposite. And if you've got a lot of Capricorn, that's why. That's why you never did anything anyone of authority told you to do, because you were Lyran. You knew that the authority was the prison system. Are you following me? So let me start over. So here's the lesson. The Lyrans incarnate to this plane knowing that the rules here were made to be broken. After all, the rules were all holding up a negative matrix construct that you came here to clear, right? A great way to get a Lyran to do something is to tell him not to do it. That contrarian attitude served a purpose, but won't always be necessary. Learning to yield and letting the stream carry you is increasingly necessary as we ascend to higher frequencies as a collective. Now, what do I mean by that? That's like you've got all the fish, and you've got, just imagine you're a big whale and you're moving through the ocean, and you have all, like, you've got your cleaner fish, because your cleaner fish have to come with you because they're the ones who like nibble on you, and get the garnicles off of you. Like, all these fish travel with you. It's not like you make a plan. The fish just fucking start following you when you start moving, right? Well, if all the fish are moving in the direction that you're moving, once you get going and you have to go 1,000 miles, then who's carrying who? Are all the fish carrying the whale, or is the whale carrying the fish? Or does the whale turn off and put on cruise control and allow the fish to drive him for a little bit, in order, because the fish now are steering? The whale will get into it if he need to wake up and turn right. It's like being on a subway and knowing when to exit. But whenever you get up to this energy and you get into, you can't always be alpha. You can't always be moving in position. You can't always be in control. You don't want to always be in super consciousness, because it's the best way to turn evil. We have a problem with the human race thinking that higher ascension means super conscious. You don't want to live in super consciousness. The system wants you to have to live in super consciousness, because then you can never relax, and then you're the one who's creating it for them. Realize that the super consciousness comes in when you're in trouble. Everything else should be afloat, and you shouldn't even have to worry about this stuff once you get tuned up. In the beginning, everything needs to be looked at. In the beginning, when you're coming out of this and you're getting balance back, everything is going to have super consciousness in it, because everything that was used to bind you is going to be seen. Once you uncoil from that, once you stop charging from that, the only way to do that is for you to change it. And it's not even about you changing it. It's about you, and that you changed it to live in it. It's about you knowing you changed it. You seeing that you changed it, because now you did that. So now you're more comfortable and you're in control, not the reality codes. When that gets off kilter, you'll get super conscious. If you've got to live in super conscious for a year, you're going to be grateful that you don't have to do it forever. These next 2 years, we're going to have a lot of people in super consciousness. Just so everyone's aware, 2021, 2022, 2020, I'd probably say the end of 2020 is when I entered super consciousness. I was in it for 2 years. There's layers. And the moon is going over Regulus right now. It's that higher infrastructure with those royal codes. It's the primordial energies. It's Leo in the first house. It's, I really don't care what your cartoon daddy had written in and what lines you stole. Can you hold it, and do you have the space for it? And if you don't, then you're going to lose it. Doesn't mean that you lost it forever. Depends on how bad you really wanted it, and it depends on if you're supposed to have it. Why do you want to be doing and paying for someone else's life when you go and live their life, but you don't ever complete their mission? That's no longer available. You have to complete the mission. If you can't complete the mission, you got to give the life back. Kind of stunts the world when you get so mental savvy that you think you can control others. You start getting a lot of power and super consciousness, you're going to feel like that, and you're going to want to. You can't live in it. That's why you a masculine and a feminine, you don't have somebody to even hand it off to. You can't even, it's like being a single parent of the whole world. You can't be like, go ask your dad. You can't be like, honey, can you punish him cuz I'm weak. No. You have to be both. You have to know when to pull the trigger for both. You are both the destroyer and the creator. And you do it at the same time on different dimensions. You're destroying the old program and creating the new one at the same time. You creating the new one is what's destroying the old one. You creating the new one and you thinking with your mind that that's just some little idea that came to you that's not connected to anything else, and how the hell are you going to pull it off, is what stops you from doing it, which keeps you in the program because you didn't change the program. And this energy right here, it is 100%. I think I can pick up every day one step in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. It's going to feel like you're walking through a swamp energetically. Your muscles might be tired. It might just be exhausting to hold up the air around you. Because why? It's a whole bunch of little guppies that are nibbling on your body trying to pull you in the wrong direction. But I mean, shit, it's the way we've been going for over 14 million years. So, So I think that's all for now. It is January 6th, 2026. And this has been Capricorn in Vega. coCHEE32.com to find out what energies you are. And I'm going to get going so I can get back to working. So I can get you this book out. So we can just do all this together from now on. Love y'all.